You know, when you think about what the Earth looks like from space, what does it really look like? I mean, beyond that beautiful blue and green marble we always see. Well, it turns out there's this whole invisible world, a kind of secret language written in light that our satellites can read. So let's dive in and see if we can decode that language together. Okay, so it all kind of starts with this really cool puzzle. Picture a massive forest. To you, standing right there, it looks completely green, totally healthy. But then, a satellite, way up there, like 700 kilometers overhead, it sees something else entirely. It's spotting the very first signs of stress, maybe from disease or a drought, weeks, before you'd ever see a single leaf turn brown. So how on earth is that possible? And check this out. This shows you exactly what I'm talking about. On the left, that's our view, right? Just a sea of green. But look over on the right. That's the satellite's view, using what's called a false color image. All of a sudden, the healthy parts of the forest are glowing this brilliant red. And you can pinpoint the exact areas that are struggling, areas that were totally invisible to our eyes. To get how they do this superpower, we got to get into the language of light itself. All right, first up, we're going to crack the energy code. And that means we need to talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. So we're talking about electromagnetic radiation, or EMR for short. Now, think about this. Sound needs something to travel through, right? Like air. But EMR? Nope. It can just zip right through the complete emptiness of space, and that's absolutely crucial, because it's the only way information from Earth's surface can get all the way up to an orbiting satellite. It's basically the messenger in our story. Now, what's so cool about this messenger is that it follows a really simple, fundamental rule. Here it is. A short wavelength means a high frequency, and that equals high energy. You can picture it like a tiny, super frantic wave just packed with a punch. And the opposite is true too. A long, kind of lazy wave has low frequency and low energy. If you remember one thing, remember this rule. Seriously, it's the key to all of this. Okay, so the full electromagnetic spectrum is just massive, right? But for looking at our planet, we really just focus on a few key players. You've got visible light. That's the stuff we all see every day. But honestly, the real magic happens in the parts we can't see, like near-infrared, or NIR. That's amazing for looking at plants. Then there's shortwave infrared, SWIR. That's all about moisture and minerals. Thermal is for sensing heat. And then you have microwaves, which, trust me, have their own incredible tricks. Every single one of these tells a totally different story about our world. But there's a catch. Before any of that light can actually reach a satellite in space, it has to get past the atmosphere's gatekeepers. Yeah, you can really think of our atmosphere like a bouncer at a really exclusive club. It's super picky about which wavelengths of light it lets through. Some of them get a free pass, they go right through. But others, they get absorbed or bounced around. And what this means, and this is so important, is that our satellites simply can't see in every single wavelength. And this chart here, this is basically the VIP list for that club. See those high bars? Those are what we call atmospheric windows. They're the exact wavelengths where the atmosphere is transparent, where it lets the signal get through to space. So you can see there's a fantastic window for visible light, a few specific but really important windows in the infrared, and then look at microwaves. That's pretty much an open door. So who are these bouncers, these blockers? Well, they're the gases in our own air. Things like water vapor, carbon dioxide, ozone, and oxygen. Each one of them is really good at absorbing very specific wavelengths of energy, and that's what creates those dark, opaque bands in between our windows. Okay, so now we know which kinds of light can actually make it through the atmosphere. So let's use that knowledge, and let's finally solve that mystery about the forest. It's time to translate the invisible colors of near and shortwave infrared. All right, so why do healthy plants show up as bright red in that satellite image? Here's the secret. A plant's chlorophyll is fantastic at absorbing visible light. That's how it makes food through photosynthesis. But the near-infrared light, it's totally useless for that process. So the plant's internal cell structure, this sort of spongy layer inside the leaf, is perfectly designed to reflect it all away, and it reflects it incredibly strongly. Now, when a plant gets stressed, that cell structure starts to break down, and that bright NIR reflection just plummets. And this is the translation key. It's actually pretty simple. We just take that super strong but totally invisible NIR signal that's bouncing off a healthy plant, and we tell the computer, hey, display this signal as the color red. And just like that, the plant's hidden health becomes totally visible to us. That is the entire secret behind that false color image.
But that's not all. Shortwave infrared, or SWIR, has its own set of superpowers. For one, it's extremely sensitive to moisture, so a wet farm field will look way darker in a SWIR image than a dry one. It can also do this amazing trick of telling the difference between snow and clouds. How? Well, snow absorbs SWIR light, but clouds reflect it. And on top of all that, it can even help geologists find and map out specific minerals in the ground.
But okay, what about seeing things like heat? Or what about seeing right through a storm? For that, we've got to go even further down the spectrum, into the worlds of thermal and microwave vision. Okay, now this is where we have to shift our thinking a little bit. Up to this point, we've been talking about reflected sunlight. But here's the thing. Everything that has a temperature, literally everything, also emits its own energy. So the sun, which is crazy hot, it emits most of its energy in the visible part of the spectrum. But what about our planet, the much, much cooler Earth? Well, it glows too. It glows with its own light, but it does it in the thermal infrared. And that's the magic number, right around 9.7 micrometers. That is the wavelength where planet Earth is glowing the brightest with its own heat. Now, of course, it's totally invisible to our eyes, but to a thermal sensor on a satellite, it's as clear as day. It's like looking at a light bulb. And this is how we can map sea surface temperatures from space, spot wildfires through smoke, and even see if crops in a field are getting enough water. And that brings us to the ultimate all-weather sensor, the microwave. What makes it so special? Well, its wavelengths are so long that they can literally punch right through clouds, rain, dust, you name it. They can even see in total darkness. So, anytime you absolutely need a picture of the ground and you don't care about the weather, you turn to microwaves. And satellites use these microwaves in two really clever ways. First, you have passive sensors. You can think of these like incredibly sensitive ears, just listening for the very faint microwave energy that the Earth naturally gives off. This is perfect for measuring stuff like how much moisture is in the soil. Then you have active sensors, usually called radar. These are more like bats. They don't just listen, they shout out their own pulse of energy and then record the echo that comes back. And with this, you can create these unbelievably detailed maps of floods or even detect if the ground is sinking by just a few millimeters. So, let's just quickly wrap this all up. We've basically decoded the secret language. We know that short wavelength equals high energy. We've seen that satellites can only peek through those crucial atmospheric windows. We've learned that healthy plants basically shout in the near infrared, that our own planet glows in thermal infrared, and that microwaves give us this amazing, unstoppable, all-weather superpower. You know, we started with a pretty simple question about a forest, didn't we? But we ended up with a completely new way of seeing our entire planet. This really isn't just about technology. It's almost like giving humanity a brand new sense. And it really makes you wonder, right? Now that we're starting to become fluent in this secret language of light, what other incredible secrets is our world just waiting to tell us?